The city sleeps beneath a blanket of stars, but something stirs in the darkness. A whisper on the wind carries her name, a phantom glimpsed only when shadows dance and moonbeams paint the streets silver.
Welcome, travelers, to Stellar Paradox.
She only exists at night. Elias sat hunched over his workbench, the rhythmic scrape of his chisel against wood filling the silence of his old apartment. Dust motes danced in the dim light filtering through the grimy window, illuminating a half-finished sculpture on the table, a twisted figure with elongated limbs and haunting eyes. His studio was a sanctuary from the world, or at least it used to be. Lately, something had shifted, an unsettling hum beneath the city's usual din. The whispers started subtly, carried on the breeze that snaked through the cracks in his window. At first, Elias dismissed them as tricks of his imagination, the result of long hours spent sculpting and drawing. But they persisted. One night, as he worked late into the evening, a distinct voice whispered Elias's name, so close it seemed to emanate from within the walls themselves. He froze, chisel clattering to the floor. The air grew thick with an unseen presence, sending shivers down his spine. He listened intently, every muscle strained, but the only sound was the pounding of his heart. Over the next few weeks, the whispers intensified. They came at odd hours, sometimes echoing through the empty hallway outside his door, sometimes seeming to whisper directly into his ear as he slept. The words were always indistinct, fragments of a language he couldn't decipher, yet they carried a chilling weight that pressed upon him like an unseen hand. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, Elias began to investigate the origins of these whispers. He scoured old books in the library, delving into folklore and urban legends, searching for any explanation for this strange phenomenon. His research led him down a rabbit hole of forgotten stories and hidden histories, culminating in an unsettling discovery: an old diary hidden within the walls of his apartment, its yellowed pages filled with faded ink and chilling tales. The diary belonged to a woman named Elara who lived in the building over a century ago. It detailed a life shrouded in mystery, whispers of secret gatherings and rituals performed under the pale light of the moon. As Elias read through the diary, a growing unease settled upon him. The words seemed to seep into his very bones, drawing him closer to this forgotten world, closer to Elara's secrets. And then came the night when Elias heard her voice clearly for the first time, echoing from the empty hallway outside his door. "He will come. He always comes at night." Elias couldn't shake the chilling words from Elara's diary and her haunting whisper. Sleep became a restless dance with shadows, his dreams plagued by fragmented images of a beautiful woman with eyes that seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. She appeared in different guises each night, sometimes as a young girl with long flowing hair, sometimes as a regal queen adorned with celestial jewels. These visions weren't always terrifying. Sometimes they were filled with a melancholic beauty, a sense of longing and unfulfilled desires that tugged at Elias's heart. He started sketching her face in his notepad, trying to capture the ethereal essence he saw in his dreams. His artwork took on an eerie quality, imbued with a haunting beauty that mirrored the visions that plagued him. His friends noticed the change in Elias. His once vibrant personality seemed dimmed, replaced by a haunted look and a constant fatigue. They tried to reach out, but he brushed them off, retreating further into his art and his increasingly disturbing dreams. He became obsessed with Elara's story, poring over every detail of her life as recorded in the diary. He felt an inexplicable pull towards her, a yearning to understand her tragic fate and the secrets she held close to her heart. One night, as he was sketching Elara's face, a cold breeze swept through his apartment, extinguishing the lamp on his desk and plunging him into darkness. As he groped for the light switch, he felt a soft touch on his shoulder, like a feather brushing against his skin. He turned slowly, his heart pounding in his chest, but saw nothing in the darkness. "Elara?" he whispered, his voice trembling slightly. A faint laugh echoed through the room, as chilling and beautiful as moonlight dancing on water. Then silence. Elias sat frozen for a long moment, unable to move or speak, consumed by an unsettling mixture of fear and wonder. He knew then that Elara was closer than ever before, and her presence felt both terrifying and alluring. The line between reality and dream had blurred beyond recognition, and the whispers promised something more, a journey into a hidden world where darkness and light intertwined in a deadly dance. Elias's life became a constant battle against unseen forces and unsettling echoes. The whispers intensified, weaving through the fabric of his daily routine like an insidious melody. They seemed to come from everywhere at once, rustling leaves outside his window, the creaking pipes in the old building, even the hum of the refrigerator in his kitchen. He started noticing strange things about his apartment, drafts that swept through seemingly empty rooms, objects moving slightly out of place, a persistent smell of dust and decay that clung to the air like a phantom limb. He tried to rationalize these occurrences, attributing them to old age and wear and tear of the building, but deep down, he knew something else was at play. He revisited Elara's diary, searching for clues, hoping to decipher the language of whispers that haunted him. The more he read, the more convinced he became that Elara had been a part of something bigger, something shrouded in secrecy and steeped in ancient lore. His research led him to an abandoned theater on the outskirts of the city, a place mentioned in passing in the diary as a gathering spot for a society called the Night Watchers. The building stood silent against the backdrop of the bustling city, its facade crumbling like forgotten memories, its windows boarded up like vacant eyes. One evening, drawn by an unseen force, Elias found himself standing before the theater's grand entrance. He felt a shiver run down his spine as he pushed open the heavy door, the hinges groaning in protest after years of neglect. The air inside was thick with dust and silence, broken only by the rustling of unseen creatures in the shadows. He followed a path worn smooth by countless footsteps, leading him deeper into the theater's labyrinthine structure. He passed through dusty corridors, stumbled upon forgotten props and costumes, and saw glimpses of faded grandeur that hinted at the vibrant life this place once held. As he ventured further inside, the whispers seemed to intensify, their voice growing clearer, more distinct. It felt as though Elara herself was guiding him, her presence a palpable weight pressing down on his chest, urging him onward. He reached a large hall, its stage shrouded in darkness, and there, bathed in a sliver of moonlight filtering through a crack in the ceiling, he saw them. Shadowy figures gathered around a flickering brazier, their faces obscured by hoods and cloaks. Elias stood frozen in the dimly lit hall, his heart pounding in his chest as he observed the shadowy figures gathered around the brazier. The air crackled with an unseen energy, a palpable tension that made it hard to breathe. He felt inexplicably drawn towards them, both repulsed and fascinated by their secret gathering. Their movements were fluid and graceful, their voices low and resonant, weaving a tapestry of words he couldn't understand but felt deep in his bones. They spoke of ancient rituals, celestial alignments, and the power that dwelled within darkness itself. Elias realized this was not just any society. This was the Night Watchers, the group Elara had belonged to, and they were far more powerful than he could have ever imagined. As Elias watched them, a sense of dread washed over him. He felt like an intruder, a ghost peering into a forbidden world. He wanted to flee, to run back to his safe haven of art and solitude, but his feet seemed rooted to the spot, held captive by an invisible force. One figure stepped forward, their face still obscured by shadows, but their gaze pierced through the darkness, locking onto Elias with unnerving intensity. The whispers around him died down, replaced by a chilling silence that amplified the sound of his own ragged breathing. "We have been expecting you," the figure said, their voice echoing strangely in the vast hall. Elias's throat tightened, fear constricting his chest. He tried to speak, but no words came out. "Elara spoke much of you," the figure continued, a hint of amusement lacing their tone. "She told us of your talents, your curiosity, and your darkness." The air crackled once more, this time with a palpable sense of foreboding. Elias felt as if he were standing on the precipice of something terrible, the line between reality and nightmare blurring beyond recognition. He had stumbled upon a secret world, one that held both allure and danger in equal measure. And now, it seemed, they knew he was coming. This chapter ends with a chilling cliffhanger, leaving Elias in a precarious position as he faces the Night Watchers, their intentions shrouded in mystery, but their power undeniable. The figure beckoned Elias forward, his shadowed hand gesturing towards the brazier that glowed with an ethereal light. As he moved closer, he saw the others step back, forming a circle around the fire, their faces still hidden in darkness, but their eyes gleaming with anticipation. He felt both repulsed and drawn to this spectacle, as if caught between two opposing forces. The figure spoke again, its voice resonating through the hall like a mournful wind chime. "We are the Night Watchers, guardians of an ancient pact between humanity and the moon," it said. Elara was one of us. Her sacrifice meant to appease the entity that dwells in darkness, ensuring balance for our world. Elias's mind reeled. He thought back to the diary entries describing Elara's devotion to this group, their rituals performed under the moonlit sky, their unwavering belief in a higher power residing in the shadows. He understood now why she had been so drawn to them, and why her sacrifice was so important. As if sensing his thoughts, the figure gestured towards the brazier, where flames danced with an eerie luminescence. "You see," it continued, "the entity craves both darkness and light, balance and chaos. It is a force beyond our comprehension, yet one that we must appease to maintain harmony." Elias watched as the figures around him began to move in a slow, graceful dance, their bodies swaying with an almost hypnotic rhythm under the moonlight filtering through the cracks in the ceiling. The air grew thick with a palpable energy, a strange blend of fear and awe that tightened his chest. "This is our ritual," the figure said, its voice echoing with an ancient power. "We dance to honor the entity, to appease its hunger, to keep it at bay." They continued their dance, each movement precise and deliberate, as if following a script written in the stars themselves. Elias felt drawn into their circle, compelled by an unseen force to join their ritual. He wanted to resist, to flee this unsettling spectacle, but his feet seemed rooted to the spot. The figure approached him, its shadowed face now mere inches from his own. "You are different," it said, its voice a low whisper. "Your darkness is unique, your potential vast. Join us, and you will become something more." Elias felt a surge of fear mixed with an inexplicable desire to be accepted, to belong to this world of shadows and secrets. The decision hung in the air, heavy and irrevocable. Would he join their dance, or would he find another way? The figure's words echoed in Elias's mind long after they were spoken, a chilling invitation to step into a world both alluring and terrifying. He felt drawn to their ritualistic dance, the hypnotic sway of bodies under the moonlight promising an escape from his lonely reality. But something within him resisted, a flicker of fear that refused to be extinguished. Yet, the whispers intensified, twisting around him like spectral tendrils, drawing him closer to the brazier's warmth. He felt Elara's presence beside him, her voice a soft caress in the back of his mind, urging him forward. "Embrace the darkness," she whispered. "Let it consume you, and you will become whole." The Night Watchers watched with silent expectancy as Elias hesitated, their eyes burning with an otherworldly light that seemed to pierce through his soul. He saw himself reflected in their gazes, a lonely artist yearning for connection, struggling against the weight of unseen forces. And he knew they held the key to understanding his fragmented dreams, the whispered secrets that haunted him. He felt the pull of their world growing stronger, promising answers and power beyond anything he could imagine. To resist was to remain trapped in a life devoid of meaning, a puppet dancing to an invisible tune. He finally understood what Elara had meant when she spoke of sacrifice, giving up his old self, embracing the darkness that promised something more, something profound. With a trembling hand, Elias reached towards the brazier's warmth, its flickering flames mirroring the turmoil within him. As he touched it, a surge of energy coursed through his body, electrifying every nerve ending. The figures around him smiled, their faces now illuminated by the brazier's light, revealing features both beautiful and unsettling. "Welcome to our fold," one figure said, extending a hand towards Elias, its touch warm yet strangely chilling. "You are finally home." The whispers swelled into a chorus of voices, chanting an ancient hymn that echoed through the theater's vast halls. Elias felt himself being pulled further into their world, his boundaries dissolving, his identity blurring. He was becoming one with the darkness, merging with the Night Watchers in a dance of shadows and secrets. The entity within the darkness had found another vessel to channel its power, another soul drawn to its enigmatic embrace. And Elias, once a lonely artist seeking meaning, had become something more, a conduit of ancient magic, a participant in a cosmic struggle that played out beneath the watchful gaze of the moon. Elias's transformation was both terrifying and exhilarating. He felt a surge of power coursing through him, amplifying his senses, sharpening his mind. The whispers that had once haunted him now sounded like clear pronouncements, guiding his every thought and action. The Night Watchers welcomed him as one of their own, sharing their rituals, their secrets, and their connection to the entity within the darkness. He learned about its insatiable hunger, its desire for balance between light and shadow, and how it fed on both chaos in order to maintain equilibrium in the universe. The Night Watchers served as intermediaries, channeling the entity's power while ensuring its destructive force remained contained. Yet, with this power came a cost. Elias noticed his own emotions becoming more intense, his desires amplified, his fears magnified. He struggled against the pull of darkness, yearning for connection yet repulsed by the price it demanded. The lines between good and evil blurred, replaced by a cold logic dictated by necessity rather than morality. One night, during a ritual under a blood-red moon, Elias witnessed a horrifying display of the entity's power. A captured spirit, its essence flickering like a dying flame, was offered as a sacrifice to appease the entity's hunger. He saw the desperation in the spirit's eyes, its final plea for mercy echoing through the hall. The Night Watchers remained impassive, their faces masks of stoic devotion. They argued it was necessary, that this offering was a small price to pay for the balance they maintained. Elias felt a deep revulsion at their detachment, their willingness to sacrifice another soul to satisfy an insatiable hunger. He realized then that his embrace of darkness had come at a terrible cost, the erosion of his own humanity, his empathy and compassion. The whispers had become commands, demanding obedience and loyalty, suffocating any voice of dissent within him. His initial desire for knowledge and power now seemed naive compared to the chilling reality he faced. He was losing himself, becoming a mere pawn in a cosmic game played by forces beyond his comprehension. And as he watched another spirit fade into nothingness, Elias knew he had to find a way to break free from this cycle of sacrifice, or risk becoming lost forever in the darkness. Elias's internal struggle raged within him, the whispers of the entity battling against the embers of his humanity. He felt torn between two worlds, one offering power and connection, the other demanding sacrifice and conformity. The weight of his choice pressed upon him, threatening to crush his spirit under its immensity. One night, during a particularly intense ritual, Elias saw an opportunity for escape. As the Night Watchers chanted ancient hymns, their voices rising in a crescendo of devotion, he noticed a faint flicker of light emanating from within the brazier's flames. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it sparked a long-dormant hope within him. Remembering Elara's words about the entity's hunger for balance, Elias focused his attention on that flicker of light. He poured all his remaining willpower into amplifying it, drawing upon his own creative energy to combat the overwhelming darkness. A silent war raged within the brazier, a struggle between the consuming void and the fragile spark of life. The Night Watchers sensed his defiance, their eyes narrowing in suspicion. They saw him as an anomaly, a glitch in their perfect system. One stepped forward, its voice dripping with icy malice. "You dare defy us?" it hissed. "Do you not understand the price of disharmony?" Elias met its gaze head-on, his heart pounding against his ribs, his mind sharp despite the overwhelming darkness that pressed upon him. He felt Elara's presence beside him, her spirit a beacon guiding him through this perilous path. "The cost is too high," he said, his voice trembling but resolute. "There must be another way." He continued to pour all his energy into the flicker of light, feeding it with his own creativity, his memories, his love for art and life. The brazier pulsed with a growing intensity, as if responding to his defiance, its flames dancing in an erratic pattern that defied their usual order. The entity within the darkness roared in frustration, its voice echoing through the hall like thunder. "You cannot escape your fate," it boomed. "Embrace the shadows, or be consumed by them." But Elias held fast, clinging to the fragile light that represented hope and his own humanity. He knew he couldn't win this battle alone, but perhaps he could buy himself time, a chance to find another solution, a way to break free from this cycle of sacrifice and darkness. As the entity unleashed its full fury upon him, Elias felt himself pushed to the brink, his spirit stretched thin, ready to snap under the pressure. Yet, amidst the chaos, a single thought remained clear: he wouldn't give up without a fight. He would find another way, even if it meant sacrificing everything else. Elias's defiance sparked a storm within the brazier, the entity's fury lashing out against his desperate attempts to cling to light. The night watchers, caught between their unwavering devotion and the chaos unfolding before them, hesitated for the first time in Elias' memory. He felt himself slipping, consumed by the overwhelming darkness that threatened to extinguish the fragile spark of hope within him. Yet, as he teetered on the edge of oblivion, a new sensation arose, a gentle warmth radiating from within his chest, a beacon illuminating the encroaching shadows. It was Elara's spirit, her love reaching out across the veil, strengthening his resolve. "There is another way," she whispered, her voice a soothing balm against the entity's wrath. "You are not alone in this fight." Remembering her words about balance, Elias focused on that warmth within him, channeling it into a bridge between darkness and light. The brazier pulsed, reflecting his struggle as the flames danced with newfound ferocity, mirroring the clash of opposing forces. He poured all his energy into building that bridge, weaving threads of creativity and love, drawing upon memories of his past life, his art, his connections to others, a tapestry of light woven into the darkness. The entity recoiled from this defiance, sensing a power it couldn't fully control, an essence that transcended its own hunger for balance. The night watchers watched in stunned silence as Elias, bathed in the flickering light he had created, held his ground against the entity's onslaught. They saw not just darkness and sacrifice, but also the potential for something more, a world where both forces could coexist, where light and shadow intertwined to create a vibrant tapestry of existence. Elias knew this was only a temporary reprieve, a fragile truce in an unending battle. Yet, he had found a way to fight back, to stand against the overwhelming darkness with a flicker of hope that refused to be extinguished. He realized Elara's sacrifice wasn't just about her own existence, but about opening up this possibility, this path towards balance and understanding for all beings, both light and dark. And as he stood there, surrounded by shadows yet illuminated from within, Elias felt a newfound determination burning within him, to continue building that bridge, to find a way to live in harmony with the darkness, and to honor Elara's memory by striving for something more than mere survival. The silence following Elias's defiant stand was deafening. The entity within the darkness seemed disoriented, its usual power faltering against the bridge of light and shadow that Elias had erected. The night watchers watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation, their faces betraying a flicker of something akin to hope amidst their unwavering devotion. Elias knew this fragile truce wouldn't last forever. The entity was still powerful, its hunger for balance a force to be reckoned with. But he had tasted victory, felt the strength that came from defying expectations, embracing both light and shadow within himself. He looked at the night watchers, their masked faces no longer inscrutable, but reflecting a dawning understanding. He saw not just blind followers of darkness, but individuals struggling with their own internal conflicts, caught between two worlds. Perhaps they had been misled, manipulated into serving an entity that promised power but demanded sacrifice. "There is another way," he said, his voice resonating within the hall, echoing Elara's words. "We can find balance without resorting to darkness or sacrifice." His words hung in the air, a seed of possibility sown amidst the shadows. The night watchers exchanged glances, their gazes hesitant yet hopeful. The entity within the darkness roared in frustration, but its voice lacked its usual power, as if Elias's bridge had pierced through its veil of control. Elias knew he couldn't force them to change, but he could offer an alternative, a path towards understanding and coexistence. He would continue to build that bridge, connecting light and shadow, hope and despair, life and death. Perhaps together, they could find a way to create a new world, one where darkness didn't have to mean destruction, but rather a necessary counterbalance to the illuminating power of light. And as he stood there, surrounded by shadows yet illuminated from within, Elias felt a profound sense of purpose. He wouldn't let Elara's sacrifice be in vain, nor would he allow himself to be consumed by darkness. He would keep fighting for a brighter future, one where both light and shadow could find their place in the grand tapestry of existence. He knew his journey was far from over, but he had taken the first step towards something truly extraordinary. The path ahead remained uncertain, shrouded in shadows, yet Elias walked forward with newfound courage, driven by the memory of Elara, the hope for a better world, and the unwavering belief that even in darkness, there is always light to be found.